Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody to the KPP Kick Push Pull Transformational Life Podcast. And I am your lovely host, creator, and CEO, Summer D. Richardson. Listen, when I tell you that I am absolutely blessed, and I say this every episode and I'm going to keep saying this, and my audience knows that I'm going to say this. I am absolutely blessed that God has helped me to connect and form relationships and bonds with some absolutely wonderful, phenomenal human beings. And these two ladies on this episode is no exception to that. I think we met, I know, I'll tell I age a little bit, right? I met these two women freshman year of college. Oh my God, 1997. Shh, don't tell nobody. We look good though, don't we? Right. Oh God. So 1997, freshman year at Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa. Yes, cold Des Moines, Iowa. Matter of fact, I think everybody complained the last couple of months that, you've been here in St. Louis, if you've been here in St. Louis and other cities and states as well, how the temperatures have been this ice, slush, snow stuff. Well, I remember our freshman year, we had 14 inches of snow. Blizzard, y'all, outside. We're looking outside and we're like, oh my God, Mom, Dad, somebody come get me. And they're like, how we gonna make it through the blizzard? But anyway, that's how far back I go with these ladies. We've got crazy stories. But I want to say I so appreciate these two women. They are some of my sisters, my tribe members, my best friends. They've been with me through thick and thin, ups and downs, love, relationships, hate, new jobs, families, grief. You name it. We've been supportive to one another and been there for one another. I am the woman that I am today because of these two amazing women. And so I'm so excited that they're here on this episode. So first off, they're going to tell us about their business that they created together that is going to make a huge impact on the world. And then next, we'll shift gears. And one of them, without introduce in a few minutes, they're going to put on their therapist hat, and then we're going to discuss, which is today's episode entitled, Are They Really a Narcissist? So, ladies and gentlemen, first off, let me introduce to you all Dr. Kelly Kemple. She is a seasoned professional in the realm of diversity, equity, and inclusion, leadership development, and change management. She has developed and implemented and facilitated programming, events, and presentations to help educate people to understand their social identities, recognize their biases, racism, discrimination, and then learn about those who are different from them and how to create inclusive environments. Her work has also led her to serve as a consultant to various departments, colleges, and universities on the topics of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Her educational background includes a Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership, a master's degree in Student Affairs, and also a Bachelor's of Arts in Sociology. I would like to welcome you all, Dr. Kelly Kemple. Kelly!
Hi, everyone.
Tell everybody where you're from. Well, you're from St. Louis, but where are you at now?
I am currently in Pembroke Pines, Florida, which is a suburb of Miami. So that's why I got my shoulders out, because it's warm outside.
And you see me and Keisha, we all got long sleeves on. Right. And a sweater, right? So, Kelly, thank you for coming on. Next, I want to introduce my other sister, Dr. Keisha Davis. She is a licensed professional counselor in the state of Missouri. And she has worked in community mental health for approximately 20 years. She specializes in intimate partner violence, depression, trauma, crisis in children families. She currently serves as the interim director of Children's Services and Community Mental Health Setting in the city of St. Louis. Dr. Davis is also an assistant professor at Missouri Baptist University. In addition, she has a decade of experience as an administrator, supervising master-level counselors, social workers, case managers, receptionists, medical staff records, interns, and mental health clinics, servicing over 2,000 mental health clients. She is passionate about helping those that are experiencing a need for mental health services and individuals that are tasked with providing services to those that are dealing with mental illness. Her research interests include intimate partner violence, cultural competency, child and adolescence counseling. Dr. Davis is the co-owner with Dr. Kelly with Inspire Transformational Change LLC. Ladies, I just want to say I am so proud of both of you all. Welcome, Dr. Davis.
Thank you.
I am so proud of both of you all. Y'all, you know, I love you all. And I'm just so glad and privileged to even be connected to you all and been a part of, to watch you all grow into the women that you are today. You guys have been so instrumental in so many people's lives and communities across the United States. And I just feel it a privilege. I am big on honoring people today, especially after the pandemic. You know, we realize that we lost so many things, and many of us have lost loved ones, as well as jobs, careers, relationships, and opportunities. And so instead of waiting to the last minute, or waiting till we have another pandemic, or waiting till you're looking at that family member on a ventilator, I want to celebrate you two women now. Now, Kelly, I know I sent you flowers last year, but Keisha, I didn't get a chance to send you any flowers. So I want to say, sis, I love you. I am proud of you, both you and Kelly, for just pushing forward. You guys have done so many things. You guys are wonderful mentors for so many people. And so I just feel it a privilege to have y'all part of my sister, my tribe. Love you. Kelly, love you. We love you.
Love you too.
She flat my fro now. Y'all.
Oh Lord, right now I have to push my hat down.
Look,
listen, y'all.
Important.
We just do some things. We're just gonna be keeping 100. Okay, we'll turn the professional and girlfriend on and off throughout this episode. But so with that being said, let's talk about Inspire Transformational Change LLC, right? Let's talk about when or how this was even birthed. You know, how did you guys even come together collectively and say, hey, I think we should do something? What was that process like? Tell the people, explain, give me the story background. Either one of you all can start.
I'm gonna let Kelly start because I think she was the one that birthed the idea and brought it to me.
Oh, okay.
So basically during the pandemic, we recognized, I was working at a university, and we recognized the effects that the pandemic and the virtual learning were having on our students, as well as the rest of the institution, like the staff and faculty who also have small children, or just the fact of people being used to coming to work and to be there and present with other people, and then having to switch and work remotely, the effects that it started to have on them. And we also had an opportunity to do a few town halls. And one of the town halls that I got to be the moderator for was about faith and mental health and the pandemic and how it's affecting the communities of color. And so with that is one of the things that really helped me to recognize how our mental health, as well as Black and Brown and just BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, people of color communities, were being heavily affected by the coronavirus when it came to getting the medicine, but also getting the proper education that they needed. But also when we had different things going on within the world of different killings of innocent Black individuals, where we had one instance where there was someone who was shot because they were called for a disturbance, but they unfortunately were not able to. They were not able to calm the person down because they were having a mental illness break. And so instead of police being there to assist with that kind of that individual, they should really have someone who's able to handle it on a more of a medical side. But because of how he was a disturbance to whatever area he was in, unfortunately that person lost their life. And so it just helped me to see that when it comes to mental health and when it comes to Black and in general BIPOC communities, we are at a disadvantage. And so I felt that this would be a great opportunity for me to partner with my good sis, Keisha, for us to bring our powers together and do our part in trying to make the world a better place when it came to just simply helping other people to recognize their own biases, their own lack of cultural competence, and as well as just understanding other people, but then also being able to bring in the educational aspect of their mental health and providing that information to BIPOC communities as well as other communities, so that they were aware of the different traumas that the BIPOC communities have faced throughout centuries and the effects it has on them, and how that may come to play in different work settings, school settings, and all those kind of things. And just trying to make people more mindful. And so I can definitely let Keisha talk a little bit more about the mental health piece of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it's important to realize, like, what we were saying and what I was saying, particularly in the mental health side, is I've always worked with diverse communities, those who are at or below the poverty level. They have the greatest need, but the fewest resources. Right.
Okay.
And so if I don't go out in those communities and support and help, who's going to do it? Right.
That's good.
There needs to be someone who has the background, who has the education, who has the skill, and is mission driven to do the work. And so I have been in this field for my entire career because I'm passionate about it and I know that there's a need. And so as far as the DE&I aspect, we go to conferences and workshops. The people who are presenting that information aren't very diverse.
No, they're not.
Right? And so there is a huge component missing, right, from those presentations, right? The lived experience of someone who is a person of color, who lives it, who breathes it, and also sees it in different aspects. I think that makes us unique in the work that we do, because we have those lived experiences, but they're different, right?
Right.
We've grown up in different communities. And so what better person to partner with than Kelly, because her expertise is in DE&I. My expertise is in mental health. And so it's just made sense.
Yeah. It's like a no-brainer. Like,
I don't think I can ever tell her no anyway. When she comes, she gonna call me. I got her.
Exactly.
Like, I'm a girl.
Exactly.
So, and so that led to where we are today.
Wow. That is awesome. That is wonderful. I'm just excited about what this organization is going to do, again, for the whole entire country. So how would you say, how are things going in terms of the business? You know, like you guys talked about, you know, real talk, you guys are double minority. I mean, you all are women, first off, and then you're African-American women, you know, trying to, you know, promote a business and get, you know, clients, things of that sort. What has your actual experience been like? And then it's in this space of DEI, which is definitely needed with the combination of mental illness. What is that? What is the actual entrepreneur, I guess, space been like for you all?
Well, see how Kelly's looking.
Look at Kelly's face.
I'm so difficult. I'm the difficult one.
Oh, no.
So I think the challenge for us is trying to balance creating a business with sustaining your current livelihood. Right.
That's good. Say that one more time for my audience.
Creating a business while sustaining your current livelihood. Right. So me personally, I am a single mom with 2 kids.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So in a perfect world, if I had all the resources, I could 100% devote my time to this business.
Right.
But I have a lot of jobs.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do, sis.
And so
multiple jobs, Kelly, multiple. I know, right?
And so I think for me, what has been the biggest challenge is creating and carving out that time to create this business. But if something's of value to you, you make time for it.
Say that one more time.
If something is of value to you, you make time for it.
That's good. Yeah.
Right. And so this mission, right, and this work with Kelly is valuable to me.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right. And so, you know, Kelly would sometimes be like, hey, when we gonna meet? You know, she's texting me like, hey, let's set up a day and time. We got to get this website up. Like, So I appreciate the fact that she helped hold me accountable to the work.
Ooh,
right, and
that's
creating this process,
Mm-hmm.
because I will get lost in all of the things that I have going on.
Yeah.
And so you have to have someone on your team, right, that has strengths opposite of you.
Oh, that's so
Right?
good. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Kelly's going to keep me in line, and Kelly's going to say, we need to meet and do X, Y, and Z. And I'm going to show up and be there.
Right. Because Kelly said, you better be there.
Kelly said, you better be there. So I'm going to be there.
On time and present and ready.
Right.
But I will say this. It definitely is not all on Keisha, because also we started this fall of 2020 is when we kind of started talking about the idea. And then unfortunately, in March of 2021, I lost my mother. And so that has also been something, just having to go through the grieving process. And that's, a process that is ongoing. And so in my mind, when I have those spurts of like, Keisha, let's go ahead and do that. Yes, she's there, but then I may lose the spark to be like, all right, let's keep going. Because, I'm just trying to get through the day. So we both have had a lot of things going on, even though we still know this is very important work, and we're hoping that we can both find that space and time where it's like we both are like, okay, girl, let's go, let's do it. Exactly. So I'm grateful for Keisha and what she brings to the table. Y'all my girls, y'all smart, intelligent, beautiful Black women, and we make things happen. So even with everything going on, we gonna create the space and time to make it happen when it needs to happen.
Yes, absolutely. So I would say, and in closing on this portion here, Kelly, before we let you go, with that being said, Keisha, I'll let you go first. What advice then would you give to another young entrepreneur? You talked about all the things that both of you guys are dealing with, regular 9-to-5s, family obligations, other organizations you're a part of. What advice would you give to another entrepreneur that's out trying to pursue, their purpose, their God-given passion, all of those things? What advice would you give?
I think for me, one of the most important things was to just create outlines, to-do lists, task lists with deadlines that helped keep me on track, helped keep us organized. Because when you just say, we're going to get a website up, right? And you don't have a deadline, that website is never going to come to fruition.
No.
Right? But when we say, our deadline for this website is July 1, right? And then that forces you to make the time to reach that deadline, because no one wants to, fail at things that they're passionate about. So I think creating those deadlines and those to-do lists really were helpful for us.
That's good. Kelly, you had anything that you wanted to add with that? Okay.
I would say also to allow yourself grace. Like that's also because life is going to happen. And so it's important that if you're working with someone, you are, very upfront about what you got going on and how, hey, we may not be able to meet this deadline this week. Let's push it back another week. 2, being very honest with yourself about what you are capable of doing. And then 3, enjoy the process and know that, and do your best not to compare yourself to other people in their process, because everybody's journey is very different. And so just take it day by day, moment by moment. And when the time comes, you are going to be at the place that you need to be in.
That is good. That is wonderful, ladies. Really good advice from both of you all. Kelly, Dr. Kempo, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We love you. Appreciate you. We'll be talking to each other later on. Off camera, y'all.
I'm gonna call you.
Oh yeah, you in trouble, Kelly, but we'll talk about that later. Big trouble. Anyway, love you, sis. Take care. All right. Bye. Well, that was wonderful, Dr. Davis. We appreciate that. And now I'm going to have you switch gears and put on your therapist hat, sis. Okay. So there is a, popular topic
Mhm.
that I would say, and probably the stats on this. I would say this particular subject or word has been bouncing around and been really trendy the last 3 to 5 years. And I would say, many times you hear this word being dropped in terms of people in relationships, and that word is narcissist. You hear, oh, my ex was controlling and manipulative, and and they're automatically labeled as a narcissist. And so you hear this over and over and over again. And so again, today's actual episode is entitled, Are They Really a Narcissist? Or is it just me? So who better than my sister, again, who is an OG in the field, okay? Literally, day one, college, when we met Keisha, she knew her God-given purpose was to be a therapist, to counsel people, to help people, to walk people through everyday lives and give them the knowledge and wisdom and all the understanding that they need. And so I was like, sis, I got to have you on the episode. I'm so tired of listening to all these different supposedly experts and podcasters. And again, I love all the podcast people, but different people are dropping their words so often. And it's like, but is it really that, or is it something else? We just pick up a word, it becomes trendy, and then everybody's labeled that same thing. Mm-hmm. So I was like, nope, I'm bringing an expert, because that's not my area of expertise. So I'm bringing somebody in that actually knows what they're talking about. So sis, let's break down that word.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean? Do we all have those tendencies? Like, break that down for us, sis.
Right. And I think when you're looking at these mental health diagnoses, right? Because if you call someone a narcissist, you're essentially saying they have a personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So that is a clinical mental health term. So we really have to be mindful when we're using these words.
Okay.
And we know that people like to self-diagnose. They're going to go on the internet, WebMD.
Oh my God. Yes. You know how it is.
Look at the symptoms and all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
They have these diagnoses, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at narcissism, if you're looking at it as a diagnosis, there is a pervasive pattern, right? That's the one thing that you have to think about when you're looking at whether this is something that's clinically significant, or a characteristic trait.
One more time. Say that again. What will it be?
It's clinically significant or a characteristic trait.
Okay.
Right? Because someone can be conceited, and someone can have a high or self-inflated self-worth.
Oh my God. Right? Yes.
But that's only one or two of the traits.
Okay.
Right? So someone can have narcissistic traits without having narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay. Thank you. That's clarity right there. You can actually have the traits, but not have the actual disorder, because it is a disorder.
It is a disorder.
And I want people to understand that it's a disorder, like she talked about. Okay. Great. Okay.
So yeah. So a pervasive pattern of these ideals of grandiosity, right? Those individuals lack empathy.
Okay.
There's this huge and excessive need for admiration from other individuals. Okay. And you start to see these tendencies happening in adolescence and progressing into early adulthood.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So adolescence to early adulthood. Would you also say that maybe that there some genetics with that? Maybe if your father or your mother or grandmother, was actually diagnosed as that, would you say that the kid could end up that way as well?
So research doesn't have a clear cut, this causes narcissistic personality disorder, right?
Okay.
There's some speculation that there could be a genetic link to it.
Okay.
Environmental links, right?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Parenting, upbringing.
Okay.
For me, that plays a pretty significant role. So individuals who may be neglected or maybe overly indulged or pampered, right, could have an increased risk of developing this. When you think of a personality disorder, personality is in that term. Our personalities are pretty set, right?
Yes, yes.
So this is something that's pretty ingrained in people. When you meet someone who truly has a personality disorder, trust me, you're going to know it.
Okay.
Because they can be draining.
Ooh, uh-oh. Did you all hear that?
They can be draining.
It can be draining.
Because they suck a lot of energy out of you, right?
Ooh.
Especially with a narcissist, they need to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
Praise me, worship me. And they really cannot handle any kind of negative feedback.
Okay.
It hurts them on a level much deeper than, oh, my feelings are hurt, right?
Okay.
They may not show it to the person, but they really internalize those feelings of humiliation. Right.
Okay.
It affects them on a deeper level.
And does it make things worse?
Yeah, they tend to lash out in a different way.
Woo. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And can that get to the point where maybe it's physical lash out or self-harm or harm to others? Or
self-harm is not typically a symptom or characteristic of someone with narcissistic personality disorder. It is for someone with borderline personality disorder, which, still in the personality disorder. So
we'll talk about that. We will. We'll talk about that another episode.
Right. But I want us to be careful to not link mental health disorders with violence.
Okay.
Because I think societally we do that, right? When
we
you see things happening on the news, if it's violence that happens depending on the population or who it is, they always start throwing out mental health issues, right?
Yeah.
As if mental health equates violence, and it does not.
Okay. That's good. No, that's it. And you're right. We really do. I mean, it happens all the time. Every single story you hear on the news, a lot of times there's this excuse, and they don't even know if the person has actually been diagnosed with any type of mental illness or mental health issues or conditions at all. And it's just this assumption that, oh yeah, it has to be mental. Wow. But no, that's very important. That is definitely very important for us to keep in mind, you all. So, and I know you mentioned, so we talked about that there wasn't any necessarily, they haven't been able to find any kind of genetic, but you did mention that sometimes maybe the home environment. Can you go a little bit deeper into that, with the home environment or, if race or ethnicity, or you see more higher population of that, or I don't know, did COVID make a explosion of that with people being at home? I don't know. So many things you hear thrown out there. So I want to do away with all of these, I want to do facts, what's truth and what's false, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So the prevalence rate of narcissistic personality disorder is not significantly high. You see higher rates in depression and anxiety. Those two had a significant increase as a result of the pandemic, right? Okay. Yeah. When you're looking at narcissistic personality disorder, depending on communities, it ranges anywhere from 0 to about 6% of community samples. Right?
Wow. Okay.
So it's not a hugely significant population. Now, when you're looking at gender,
yes,
males have it more significantly than females. 50 to 75% are males.
Oh, wow.
With narcissistic personality disorder. But if you think about our society for a minute.
Yeah, let's talk.
And
let's get deeper.
How we look at men versus how we look at women. Right? The value we place. I'm just going to keep it real.
Yeah, right? I want you to. We do transparent here.
We place on men in society versus women.
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
That's why there's this pay gap. Right.
That's
why women were deemed as property for many, many years.
Yes.
Couldn't vote. So, let's just have a candid talk about it.
Right.
So, if you're going through life and the male is praised and worshipped and held on this higher standard,
ego stroked and all of that. Right. Oh my God, for generation to generation, that part.
All right, and women, we have to take on everything, handle everything, right? And so I'm not surprised that the percentage is higher in males.
Yeah.
Right? Than females when you just look at how our society is in general.
Wow.
Now, as far as race or anything like that, the bigger issue to determine whether or not a community has narcissistic personality disorder within it is the type of society it is versus race. And what I say about that is there are individualistic cultures and there are collectivist cultures.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Let's break that down a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, let's break that down a little bit more. Okay.
Okay. So collectivist cultures are ones that put the needs of community and others above an individual person.
Okay.
Right. So you will see a lot of minority cultures are collectivist cultures.
Yeah, we
right?
are. Right.
So they are, we're taking care of the community. We're doing what's best for everyone. Western culture is an individualistic culture.
Yeah.
It's about me getting ahead. It's about me having all this money. Me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so as Western society has developed, so has narcissism is in the culture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So even there's been research out there that even from like the 50s and 60s, the use of I am the greatest or me and I has increased substantially in the Western society over the years.
So just the language alone. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. Man. So why do you think, because you talked about it, it's actually a disorder, it's person. So why is it that it seems like that people are labeling people so quickly and have no clue at all? Like, why are we just using that and we don't even understand? Is it because we don't understand, the lack of knowledge, the lack of understanding? We just throw that word out. You hear it every other conversation, especially if you're talking to your girlfriends, like you talked about a lot of times. A lot of the men are labeled as such, and I have not really heard many men label women as such, honestly. Yeah. So what has been your experience, your therapeutic experience, all of that stuff, or stats that you may have as to why?
So I think from my experience and what I've observed over the last several years, the terminology really started to come out more during a particular political climate.
Oh,
right.
Okay. Let's go there.
When you look at what was said about certain individuals in the media, and the term was used quite a bit. Right?
Okay.
And so it started to gain more traction, if you notice, you said in the last 3 to 5 years.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so I did not hear people running around calling someone a narcissist as often as I have over the last few years.
Wow.
Now, I've heard people use terms like someone being antisocial or someone being psychotic or a sociopath. Different, I've heard that throughout my career. But calling someone a narcissist, I've seen an increase over the last few years. But I think that's just because, media has started to use that term a bit more.
Yes, they have. They really have.
But we really have to be mindful. Clinicians, right? Those who are trained should be giving that diagnosis.
Yes.
But we know people diagnose themselves all the time.
Oh my God.
But we do it ourselves. If I got a sore throat, I'm over here like,
oh Lord, one cough.
Right.
Lord Jesus.
Tisha, you are not the medical doctor. Right. Call your doctor, girl. Right. Stop diagnosing yourself.
Exactly.
And so, but we do it.
We do.
I have clients come in already knowing what their child or what they should be diagnosed with.
Are you kidding me?
No, because they've gone on the internet and the internet told them so.
Oh my God. Oh,
I'm like, well, if all it takes is the internet, I need to get a refund from all these student loans.
Okay, your whole degree. Okay.
All these degrees is going here in the trash can.
All of them.
Right? So there's specific training, years of training. Now you can tell someone that, like, we can talk about the specific diagnostic criteria because there is a manual that is used to diagnose mental health issues. It's called the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual.
Okay.
It's what the professionals use, psychiatrists use, therapists use, social workers use. Like, this is what all of the profession uses to diagnose mental health issues.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And so, no, don't go buy you one. Don't go on Amazon. Buy you
now you heard it too. Okay. Somebody was like, "Oh, what was that again? Let me Google this real quick. They got this on Amazon. I can get this real quick.
To get this book and start going to town."
Okay, listen, this is what's going on with you. Okay, I got the right information. I got the book now.
So,
God, yeah, we will. Yeah. So I hear you, right. Make sure, no more self-diagnosis. Talk to the professionals. Let them do their job. Yeah. God. But so let's talk about the dating. And since it's coming up anyway, most of the time, that's when you hear it a lot of times, is in relationships, So, many people, have many questions about that. So and I would say, especially for women, like we just talked about, let's just talk about, we're late. Let's talk. So it's like a lot of people will say, well, I think I'm dating a narcissist, and like you said, first off, you don't need to self-diagnose that person that you're dating. But let's say maybe they are, maybe they are.
mm-hmm.
And so somebody maybe question themselves, hey, is there something that I'm doing? Could it be possible that something is, I always say that you attract who you are, or whatever, all those terms you hear all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So could it be something that the person is giving off as to why the narcissist person is drawn to them, or that person keeps drawing in narcissists?
Yeah. A narcissist isn't going to be drawn to another narcissist because they're going to be both want attention and accolades and grandiose. It's just not going to fare well.
Say that one more time, because I think the people in the back didn't hear you loud enough, sis.
A narcissist is not going to be drawn to another narcissist.
Okay.
Right? Takers are drawn to givers.
One more time. Say that one more time.
Takers are drawn to givers. If you are a giver by nature, these are individuals. And look, let me tell my business, right?
Okay,
I am a giver by nature,
and
right?
That's why we're friends, because we're both givers. It's our issue. Right? Another episode.
But we tend to meet people in romantic relationships that are takers because they get that sense that this person is going to give support, right? And they are going to deplete you if they can.
Woo!
Right?
Yeah.
And givers are also those that like to uplift people.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a narcissist, you need that. You need someone to give you that praise, right? To give you those accolades, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to be drawn to someone who may be of that nature.
Wow.
A more of a giver, right? Even if you're not necessarily a narcissist, meaning you have that personality disorder, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You can have traits like you can lack empathy, which is one of the
main
symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder is lacking empathy, right? You can have this grandiose sense of self-importance, which is another symptom, right, of narcissistic personality disorder. So you can have some of them, right, some of those characteristics and not be full on. But I've told people, I'm like, you have narcissistic traits.
Okay.
And it's making me feel some type of way.
Right. It's disturbing my peace. It's disturbing my peace.
So you have to, I think self-awareness is really important.
Okay.
I've seen so many people that stay in relationships because it's familiar.
Ooh,
right?
Yeah.
Because I know what I got with you, right? I know when you're gonna yell, scream, or be distant or make me feel bad. But then I know those few moments where you can make me feel good, and I want to hold on to that. Whereas if we go out and leave to look for something that may be better for our soul, right? There's this fear of, am I going to get something worse? Right?
Yeah.
I'd rather keep what I have than get something worse.
Because I'm familiar with what I have.
Right.
And it's fear, basically, right? The fear of I can get something worse.
Right. We look for the familiar, right? If you go to a grocery store you've never been to, you're looking for things you're familiar with, right?
That's true.
It takes more effort to try something different or something new or something outside of our comfort zone. Right?
Yeah.
So if we're used to people who are a certain way and have a certain personality, when you go and find someone that maybe doesn't like to yell in relationships,
doesn't like to argue,
who doesn't like, it's a discussion, it's not an argument.
Right.
If you say we're arguing and I'm like, no, this is actually a discussion. Right?
Yeah.
But there are people who are so used to arguing in relationships that when they get in one where that doesn't happen, they don't know what to do with themselves.
Wow.
Right? They can tend to self-sabotage because when they argue with me, that was the way they showed they love me.
Oh,
right? When they called me names and talked about me, and then later brought me flowers or a gift, like to make up for it. Right?
Ouch.
So we have to start looking at ourselves and saying, like, we deserve something better, something more.
Yeah.
Like, you're allowed to have expectations in relationships.
Oh, say that again.
You're allowed to have expectations in relationships. I've had people tell me, I don't expect anything from my partner. I was like, that's not true. Right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you want them to come visit you and spend time with you, that's an expectation. Right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I think sometimes people think of, when they say they don't have expectations, they don't have to have, all this money.
They don't have to
these
6
careers.
figures and
Right.
all
that's
that stuff.
That's not the only type of expectation.
Mm-hmm.
It is as simple as don't call me out of my name when you're mad.
That part.
That is an expectation.
That part.
Right?
Yeah. My God. Like that, just the simple stuff. Like, I like to communicate.
Don't make me feel bad because I have an opinion that differs from yours.
Ooh,
that is an expectation.
That's good.
You are allowed to have. Relationships are reciprocal.
Mm.
If you're doing all the giving and not receiving much, you may have to kind of reevaluate what's going on in that relationship.
Yeah,
So.
that's facts. God. Look, you took us that. Wait a minute. Okay, though. No, this is good stuff. So, along that lines, I'm gonna go just a little bit deeper into that relationship piece. What you talked about, self-awareness for a lot of people. So, what's step one? Somebody's like, I'm tired. I'm tired of the dating scene, or I've been married and now I'm divorced, and I feel like I keep dating or being with the same type of people or person or whatever, and you talked about the self-awareness. Like, what is step one for someone that's like, I really do need different, like my peace is just destroyed. I'm lost. I don't even know who I am anymore because I've lost myself in so many relationships or the dating scene or situationships or whatever the new terms are. I can't even keep up. Or I'm in a marriage maybe, and we're going through a pretty down spot, right now. What is step one of coming to the self-awareness where I can what is step one? Like, give us some steps that you got.
We know when we're unhappy, right?
Ooh.
Even if we don't want to overtly or blatantly identify it, your body's going to tell you. You're going to be more tired. You're going to be more irritable. People around you are going to see it. My daughter looked at me the other night and she said, Mom, you're cranky, aren't you? Right?
And this is the baby. This is her daughter.
So people can see when there's a shift in you, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes we get so defensive about it instead of actually taking a moment to receive it, to say, maybe they're saying something I haven't been able to identify. Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes other people can shine that light, that mirror on us. Right. I think everyone should create a list of non-negotiables.
Say that one more time.
Create a list of non-negotiables. Right.
Okay.
There are things that you are willing to compromise on. Right. We know that.
Yeah.
Like if someone's a little messy and you might be a neat freak. Now, if that's your non-negotiable, that's on you. Right. But you have to know what those are. Those are the things that you're not going to budge on. And the first time you see it, it needs to trigger you to say, hold up. So non-negotiables. Okay. You need to be able to identify triggers. Right. So I've worked with clients and I'm like, what triggers you? Right. You have these issues in relationships. So start with the last failed relationship. And start identifying what were things in that relationship that made you feel angry, hurt, uncomfortable, embarrassed, humiliated. Okay. Right. And
no matter what they are, like it doesn't matter what it was, even if it was something in your mind. Because I think we kind of like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that serious. Or I was tripping, or it was just me, Yeah. So no matter what, like write it down, basically, no matter what it was. If you think you were tripping, write that trigger down, how you felt. Okay.
And people will make you feel like your feelings aren't valid or you're overreacting.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So, So know those things. I see people all the time that say they never wanted to date anybody who smoked. That was a non-negotiable, but they have a smoker.
Well,
right. So if you start slipping on your non-negotiables, then you're going to slip on other things within that relationship.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So write down your non-negotiables, right?
Yes.
Identify the things that you know trigger you. For me, it's a lack of consistent communication. That's a trigger for me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because I'm the kind of person, everybody's got their phone. Mine's right here all the time. So you can't give me a 2.5 second response in a 24-hour period.
Okay.
It's a trigger for me.
Flat out. I'm just saying.
I'm telling all my business. So
No,
that is the trigger.
Right.
I'm very clear on that.
It's the trigger. It's trigger for my sister. Don't forget that.
Triggers I will discuss and try to work through.
Okay.
Non-negotiables I will not.
Mm.
So if it's a trigger, I will say, hey, just so you know, consistent communication is really important to me.
Okay.
It does. I don't expect you to talk to me every day, all day.
Right.
But if I attempt to reach out, I'd like a response.
Yeah.
Even if it's, hey, I'm really busy with work. I'll reach out to you when I get a little bit more time.
Yes.
Something as simple as that can do enough to allay someone's concerns, because it may not be that I'm insecure about what you're doing. I could be worried about you.
Exactly.
If you have a certain kind of job that puts you in a dangerous situation, I could be worried that you're hurt somewhere.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Right.
So for me, that's communication.
Okay.
Right. Not just communication, but comprehension.
Ooh.
Right. People always say communication is important to me, and I tell them comprehension is important to me, because I can use words all day.
Yes.
But if you don't understand what I'm saying, then we have a problem.
That is so good, because oftentimes, that's it. Most of the time, even, no matter what you hear, what are the most important things you need in a relationship? Communication. Everybody's saying that. And it's like, but
what does that?
What does that mean? What exactly is
mean?
communication? And you just said it. It's comprehension. That part. Just because I'm saying words, do you actually understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Right. And how I'm being affected. When people communicate, they're so focused on how they're affected versus how the other person is affected.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So non-negotiables, triggers. And I think something that's really, really important that people don't do enough of is identifying their love language, as well as a love language that you don't want to deal with. Right?
Ooh, that's good.
So again, I'm about to use myself as an example.
That's okay. We're here. We love
my
you.
love language. Right?
Yes.
My primary is acts of service. Right.
Yes.
And really, you have to understand what all of them mean.
Right. And most of you've all probably seen, but if not, please don't pick up the 5 Love Languages. Great book.
So I don't think that I've dated someone before whose love language is receiving gifts.
Okay.
Right. But it was on a level of high expectation.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
So I was like, I
Yeah.
don't like this.
Right.
I want to be able to give someone their love language. You don't give someone the love language that you want.
Right.
You give them theirs. Right?
That's right. Right.
So if you can't do that, then don't be with that person. If you know you don't like affection and you don't like someone touching and hugging on you, and it disturbs you that greatly that you can't compromise, why are you with someone whose love language is physical touch?
Wow.
Right? Why are you with someone whose love language is words of affirmation if you don't like to give compliments or make them feel good with words?
Right.
It's going to be a point of contention in your relationship.
And always, actually.
Always.
Right? Always, right?
Love languages, once you get to a certain age or stage in life, they don't really change that much unless something drastic happens.
That's true. Yeah. So, I think you just freed some people up, honestly, Dr. Davis, when you said if knowing what your love language is, and then understanding which one
that you can't
give
to someone else.
That's like, oh God, that is just a trigger for me. It's trauma, whatever it is. And I can't compromise on that at all. Then that frees you up. That person that maybe you're dating is not for you.
Yeah.
If that's what they have to have and they're not able to compromise, then you all can politely say, it's been real.
Yeah.
I honor and respect you, and I'm going to release you.
Yes.
Wow.
And this stuff needs to happen early on.
I was going to say that. You get in love
years in, and they're like,
10 years deep. I don't like affection. Well,
so every time I've been holding you when we watch them,
no wonder you kind of. I can't give gifts, or or I'm not a words person. I don't do words of
I don't want to
affirmation.
spend money on you,
Right? I just flat
even
out
though
don't
gifts
want to.
could be something minor, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be financial. Yeah,
it does not
could
have
be
to be financially.
Yeah,
but if you're with someone who expects financial gifts,
well,
you need to be aware of that. I dated someone, they wanted gifts.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like, this ain't gonna work.
This ain't gonna work, bro. It's been real. I had a good time, but I'm good. Wow, that is no, thank you. This is, I mean, listen, you all, she's been dropping nuggets this whole time. That is some good words of, I mean, that really does. I think you've definitely freed some people up. Seriously. And do it early in the relationship. Or the dating phase, right?
Yeah.
More so, or the talking or the get to know you phase.
When you I know within 2 weeks of talking to someone if it's someone worth investing a little bit more time in, right? Because I'm very clear about expectations.
Okay.
Like it's not about like, oh, you're bossy or this or that. It's knowing what you want, and it's okay to advocate for yourself, because oftentimes you're going to be the only one doing it. Right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. No, that's good. That's good. Wow. No, that's good. Like I said, been dropping nuggets the whole time. God, wow. So I would say, in closing at the end, because this has been so good. Let me ask you just one last question then. Back to the narcissist part, which we pretty much was talking about this whole time. Is there a cure?
No.
Okay.
So when you're looking at mental health disorders, particularly personality disorders, right? There's no cure, like you take this medication and it's gone, right?
Okay.
But there's treatment. So typically the best course of treatment for narcissistic personality disorder is psychotherapy, or what we in the field call talk therapy. Right, where you have a therapist and you're kind of working through some of these thoughts, these cognitive distortions that we have, right? These negative beliefs, different things going on. And so having a therapist that you can talk to and process. The thing about going to therapy is you have to want it, right?
Yes.
Because it is emotionally exhausting. It can be very triggering for people.
Yeah.
And so if you are not at a point in your life where this is something that you want, you won't find the success that maybe you would like to find. And I do, just full transparency, working with personality disorders takes more intensive work.
Okay.
Takes longer to treat.
Okay.
Because by way of being a personality disorder, it's really ingrained. Starts at a very, in adolescence, essentially. And so it can take up to like 18 months, 2 years to truly start to see some change. And that's consistent work, consistent therapy, consistent treatment.
Wow. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. So I would say, I guess just kind of in closing now, in terms of, therapeutic advice. So if you're a person that happens to be married to someone that happens to be a narcissist, or maybe you're a parent and you're starting to see some things or traits or whatever, how would you tell that person how to navigate that world?
Right. And it's really, no one knows you better than you. Right.
Okay.
Even your therapist, I will never know you better than you know yourself. Right. So you have to determine what you are willing to take and accept.
Okay.
Right. If you're willing to accept that behavior without change, then that is your choice, obviously. If your partner is willing to acknowledge and identify that this is an issue and maybe want to get help, then support them through that process, right? Being a caretaker of someone with mental health issues is a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And those caretakers have to be taken care of as well.
Yes.
So that's one thing, making that decision. Sometimes it leads to the point where you have to disengage to make yourself a priority, right? There is this method called the gray rock method, where when you're engaging with someone who's like a narcissist,
yes,
you have to kind of take a step back and not engage in some of those behaviors,
okay,
in order to keep your mental health stability intact.
Ooh,
right?
Yeah.
And I had to work with a client and teach them that. And it was her mom
Oh,
who was the narcissist. And
yeah.
she'd been struggling with it. And she was an adult in her 40s for such a long time that she had to get to the point to say, it's not about loving my mom. It's about making myself a priority.
Yeah.
So she was going a long time without talking to her mom because she had to disengage.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Or she knew her mom's trigger words that would lead to arguments. So if her mom said a certain thing to her or posted a certain thing on Facebook, she used to engage.
Okay.
And it would go back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
So we had to work on not engaging. Right.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice, but
yeah, it's doable. Like you said, if a person is committed, consistent, then it would work. Yeah,
and she was able to get to the point where she didn't need therapy anymore, and she was able to do these things and use these coping strategies on her own. That's the ultimate goal. We don't want you in therapy forever.
Okay.
The goal is to teach you to be self-sufficient, resilient, self-reliant.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. So one more question, just in closing, this is it, sis.
She's gonna ask me another question.
I know. I know, but I'm like, we only got so long. I could listen. This is my girl. We go on and on and on. Okay, I promise this is the last question, so I can bring it up. But last question: if a person, let's just say brand new person, and they seeking therapy, they're nervous, they're scared, they don't, what would be your advice to them? Just how to prepare maybe for their very first session. You see all these little funny memes, you see all those things and stuff like that, and they're funny and they're cool, but honestly, it's a serious thing. What advice, or see, people been telling you, I think, so, and you can only talk your friends and your family and your significant others' ears off for so long, where it's like, okay, I'm not a therapist, I can't do anything else. And it's like, I think you need to start seeing someone, but it's still somewhat of a stigma still surrounding it.
Very much
so. Even after COVID, and people really, I know y'all doors people been beating on y'all doors. I got waiting lists for some of you for the therapists these days, but still, there's still this fear, anxiousness, shame, all of that surrounding the idea that you may need to see a therapist. So what would be the advice to someone?
I mean, first thing is that therapy is not what it is on TV, right? How it is on TV, that is not how it is.
Yes.
Right? We are regular old people who, are just here to support. We've been called to do this work.
That part, yes.
So find someone who's called to do the work and not just doing it for a paycheck, because we don't make a lot of money as therapists. So.
Not enough. Not at all. Y'all don't make a lot of money.
So you really have to be called to do it, right? And find someone that you just feel like you can connect with.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Like, it's okay. Just but it's that first step that you have to take.
Right.
And that's sometimes the hardest. And even just looking up some therapists.
Yeah, that's the other part.
Like Psychology Today has like listings of therapists with their pictures, bios, like what they treat, insurance that they take.
Right.
I mean, you can reach out to them and based on how they respond, you can decide, I like this person, I don't, and just move forward like from there.
Okay. Gotcha.
For those who are really scared, there's telehealth options where you can do therapy from home on the phone or on a video. They even have it where you can chat for therapy now. So there's so many different ways to get therapy.
Okay. I don't know that the chat part too. Okay. Wow. Okay. And it's really just to make sure people are comfortable and they're getting the treatment that they really need still.
Right.
Okay.
Treatment is person-centered. We should not be catering treatment based on what we want. It's the needs of our clients. It's how we cater treatment. So
wow. Okay. Yeah. Again, we can go on and on.
But we can't because my daughter's calling me.
Oh Lord. And she's gonna probably she's gonna whoop me.
I'm gonna tell her it was summer.
It's like, Summer and But thank you again, sis. I appreciate you, Dr. Davis. You will see her again. She is our regular. She will be on talking about
whenever you need me.
Right, yeah, all kinds of other subjects that we didn't even get a chance to. We touched, but we didn't get a chance to get into. But thank you again, sis. I love you. I appreciate you. So, in closing, don't forget to breathe. And as you breathe, know that you are God's greatest creation. Now go out and fulfill your purpose unapologetically, because someone is waiting on you. I hope that you experience God's peace, love, and joy. Be kind to yourself and others, and remember to take care of each other's hearts and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Peace, my friends, until we meet again.